Hello folks. If you're watching this, you've come from the Philly-to-Pittsburgh Challenge video. I spend way too much time studying local transit networks in Philadelphia, and I can confidently say there is no good car-free way between the two cities without using Amtrak or an intercity bus, or flying, if you count that. Still, I wanted to make this as a companion piece, an explainer, perhaps to justify the ridiculous amount of time I wasted researching a joke video. So, let me preface by saying that Pennsylvania has a ton of great small cities and towns. This is likely owed to the once vast network of railroads and streetcars across the Commonwealth, whose absence leaves islands of decent urbanism only accessible in 2025 by asphalt. Maybe there's room in there for commentary about how Pennsylvania deserves better rail connections. Maybe that's foreshadowing a future, half-absurd fantasy route video. Subscribe and wait a few business weeks to find out. Also, I guess this video is subliminally inspired by this Miles in Transit video from a few years ago. I've been sitting on this idea for a while, and it's a neat coincidence that a few similar ones came out recently from transit creators who are way cooler than me. This is especially good timing since Climate and Transit's video literally came out a day before this one. Shout out to him, Transit Bandit, and Adam. At the core of this theoretical challenge would be a start from Philly. The only real way out is via SEPTA, and I've identified two main routes. One goes through Lancaster County and the other through Montgomery. Both involve large gaps, and with the caveat of not taking a rideshare, either route would involve an obscene amount of walking. Biking would be possible, but most of the roadways won't be very welcoming, whether on foot or by bicycle. So, let's head to the map. We're coming in from the arbitrarily chosen Westmont station on the Patco. From there we head west on Patco, up over the river into Philadelphia. Now here we stop at 8th and Market, and depending which route we take, we're either going to continue on the L, or we're going to walk to Jefferson Station, or take the underground connection through the Gallery Mall if that's open. So let's say that mall's open, Fashion District, Gallery Mall. We're going to walk over to Jefferson Station, where we will connect to the SEPTA Regional Rail Network. And before I get too far, let me just say that these two paths are going to converge here, and then at a certain point we'll reconvene and we'll see what that looks like when we get there. But for this first one, we'll go to Jefferson. We're going to take the Manayunk-Norristown line, ride that up through North Philly, and we'll take that up the Schuylkill up until we get to Norristown. Now in Norristown, we'll connect here at the Norristown Transportation Center to the Route 93 bus. So this will take out of Norristown. Now you'll see for just about all of these bus routes, I did not include many of the loops and deviations they have. They're just extremely difficult and annoying and time-consuming to try to create on Metro Dreamin', and they weren't really necessary for the purposes of this video. But just know that some of these routes will have some deviations and really weird loops that might not be listed directly on this map. So we continue north and west through Montgomery County, taking ourselves all the way up to Pottstown. Now Pottstown has its own small bus network, as we can see here, and within the center of Pottstown, we're looking here for Hanover and High Street. And if you look down here at the legend, it's actually kind of nice. The part map, Pottstown area rapid transit map, they even note where SEPTA's Route 93 comes into the city here. So we take 93 in to the center at High and Hanover Streets, and that's where we will transfer onto the part network. The one we're going to be looking for is the green line, the part green line. So it does start up, and as I mentioned, I won't make every single deviation and loop because this part down here was quite annoying to try to fit into Metro Dreamin'. So does this little loop here, comes back up to High Street and continues a little bit west, in fact not very far west, to the neighboring town of Stowe, where we're going to get off here at High and Grosstown. Those are that intersection of those streets is the furthest west that one can get on the part network. Now, we'll see here on the Metro Dreamin' map that I've made up, that's about as far as we go. Now, unfortunately, this is where we start a bit of a non-vehicular distance. No trains or buses that will connect through this and the next point. By walking, it's going to be pretty rough. If you would have a bicycle available, this would be doable, but definitely wouldn't advise trying this unless you're in pretty good shape and you don't mind walking down some rather inhospitable roadways. So from the town of Stowe, you would transfer right down here onto the Schuylkill River Trail. Fortunate for biking here. You have a nice protected space here and this well-established bike trail that many use. And we're going to take that west a ways. All in all, this full connection here will be about 6.4 miles. So we continue west along Schuylkill River Trail till we get to East Main Street outside of Monocacy. And we're going to continue all the way up here to Birdsboro. Birdsboro in particular has a route here on the BARTA, the Berks Area Regional Transit Authority, which loops around the town of Birdsboro, and it'll come back up here. This is the BARTA Route 8. So we're going to hop on this one, take that up into Reading. A bit of a ways up here. Go through a couple towns, and we get to the center of Reading, where BARTA's transfer station is, BARTA Transportation Center. So from there, we will then connect to the BARTA Route 14, which takes us west. Now, a quick note here, there is a connection that could be made on the BARTA Route 20. That would take you north up to the town of Hamburg, and the next closest transit network here would be STS, the Schuylkill Transportation System. So you can see from Reading, you would head up to Hamburg, which is roughly in this area here, right around the intersection of Route 78 and Route 61. So if you were to utilize BARTA Route 20, you could take that north up to Hamburg. However, the problem there is it's about 15 miles up to this town here called Orwigsburg, and that is the southernmost point of the STS bus network. Unfortunately, once you're connected onto this network, there's really not much else to connect to north or west, so it would be rather pointless trying to connect to some other places here. It is a bit of a pain to get further west from these areas. Although You might be able to work in a trek to Knoebels, though. That would be a nice little side trip here. So I guess if you need a car-free way to get to Knoebels, that's probably your best bet. Though it will involve some sort of rideshare, Uber, Lyft, something like that. So let's work back into our route here. So let's get back into the center of Reading. Again, we're at the BARDA Transportation Center. We're going to connect west to the BARDA Route 14. This one will take us westward through West Reading, through Wyomissing, home of Taylor Swift. Continue a little bit further. There's a Wegner's over here. Everyone loves Wegner's. So we get our charcuterie here, Wegner's, when we're planning a party. And we keep going here. And we get all the way up to town of Womelsdorf. There's a McDonald's here where we can stop on the intersection here at Conrad Weiser Parkway, which is Route 422, major road that you see go through a good chunk of Pennsylvania. Hit this back onto the map orientation here. There we go. So from this point, you would then need to go by foot or by bicycle an additional 10 miles. So we're looking at nearly 17 miles of walking total. You need to go about 10 miles west on 422, all the way until you get on the outskirts of Lebanon. Now, Lebanon has a pretty decent transit bus network here, Lebanon Transit, but it only goes as far east as the Holiday Inn Express on East Cumberland Street in Lebanon. So we would be able to pick that up here, maybe take an overnight stay to rest our feet after all the walking and or biking that we've done. And we would connect to the Lebanon Transit Route 4. That one will take us into the center of Lebanon. And so from here, that's where we're going to take a short pause and circle back to Philadelphia. So this is where our two routes will join. So let's take it back to 8th and Market and restart our journey from here. So we're back here at 8th and Market, and we're going to connect onto the SEPTA L. Now, we can take that all the way to 30th Street, but it is a bit more fun to take the trolleys. So we can also get off of 13th Street here, connect into the trolley network. Any trolleys will do, so they all run the same route around the loop here underground. In this section here, maybe we'll stop off at Reading Terminal before we go. Who knows? Keep our options open. But we'll hop on here at 13th, or just ride the L all the way in, all the way to Drexel Station at 30th Street. And from there we can connect up to William H. Gray III, 30th Street, for the regional rail. So we're going to hop on SEPTA's Paley-Thorndale line. And we'll take that a good ways here. I don't know all the distances, but I'm sure this is one of the longer, if not the longest, of the regional rail lines. Maybe the Wilmington Newark line might be longer. I've never really looked at the stats. But we'll take this all the way out through Villanova, through all these spots, right to its terminus here at Thorndale Station. So that puts us right here on the border of, what's that, Colne Township, Colne and Coatesville. Now we do want to get a little bit further west. That's not the complete end of the SEPTA system, but it is pretty darn close. So from here we can hop on the SEPTA 135 bus that's going to take us just a short distance here into Coatesville, just on Coatesville's border here with Haiti, evidently. So we take that to the intersection of Hope Ave and Lincoln Highway, where we can no longer ride the SEPTA 135. Now from here, it is going to involve some more walking. Now I did look at two different options based upon where the next receiving bus network ends. Now there was an option to continue on Route 30, Lincoln Highway here, that would end somewhere in this area. It was about an extra 2 miles and another hour's worth of travel by Google's estimate, whether going without a car. So the better of the two options here is to walk or bike up through this way, through the town of Compass, all the way up to this little section here, a town called Peckway, to the First Baptist Church. It doesn't say. I believe it's the First Baptist Church of Peckway, is where the turnaround point is here for the Red Rose Route 13. Red Rose, of course, being the bus transit network servicing really well, actually, Lancaster and its surrounding areas. Just this is pretty far out still from Lancaster proper. But Red Rose, great service around Lancaster. So we hop on the Red Rose 13. We start to take that west, and we're going to be on it for a little bit. Good bit. All the way into the center of Lancaster. So we get into Lancaster proper, transfer off here at the bus station right in the middle of Lancaster. And from there we can transfer on to the Red Rose Route 8. The Route 8 takes us not terribly far outside of Lancaster, right up to a little shopping center they have here called Park City Center, also referred to as Park City Mall in the Lebanon transit maps. So we're going to connect here onto Lebanon Transit. Now, this would be one that we could only accomplish on a Saturday. Lebanon Transit runs a Saturday-only route 4 times a day to and from the center of Lebanon to this Park City Center Mall. It's about a 50-minute ride, and it goes all the way back up through a number of towns here. It provides a really nice connection here from Lebanon to Lancaster. One of the probably only, if not the only, intercity or true intercity connections here between two of these networks. In fact, Classy Whale did a wonderful video about this that kind of helped explain a bit of the service here for me. So post that up here. Be sure to check his video out. It's one of his more deep cuts, but really is an excellent piece about the Lebanon Transit Route 7, or PC route they call it, the Saturday only 4 round trip bus between Lebanon and Lancaster. So we'll see here, now that we are on the Lebanon Transit Network, we have met up with the other route that we took in from the Holiday Inn Express down into the center of the city here. So from here, there's really only one feasible way. Now, I'll say that with a little asterisk. If we go back to Lancaster, Lancaster does have a route that comes down here out to Columbia, which sits on the Susquehanna, it should be. And while it does connect to another network here from York and Adams, the York Adams division of Harrisburg's Rapid Transit. The problem here is it's a few more connections. You have to connect out to Columbia, then another route back into York, and another route back up into Harrisburg. This, I guess, seems a little more direct for me. At least you get this one seat that's 50 minutes here. Just seems a little more pleasant as long as you're doing it on a Saturday. Perhaps if you're trying to do this midweek, the York, Columbia, up to Harrisburg option might be a bit more feasible. This is just the route I picked. So once we're down in Lebanon, so we are at the center of town here. We're going to connect on to the Lebanon Transit Route 8, and that will take us into Hershey. Another quick note here, Lebanon Transit does have two routes, express routes they call the Commute King. Those are once daily westward routes at 6 something in the morning. They leave Lebanon. They're the Harrisburg Commute King A and B. One, I believe the A takes you more direct, and the B takes you further up to these areas north and westward before coming back down south and into Harrisburg. Because of their being even less frequent than the Park City Connector, I did not consider them as a feasible route along this path. So anyway, we're going to bring this back to Lebanon Transit Route 8, this one here, that we're going to take westward through Palmyra. Oh, Pennsylvania has Palmyra as well. And we take that into Hershey. Now there are a few places to connect. There's a lot of deviations and loops that I didn't add in here. Within the park, within Hershey proper, and just figured the easiest place here to connect would be at the outlets just on the outskirts here of the park section, where both networks here have a stop. So from the Lebanon Route 8, we're going to connect onto the Rabbit Transit. That again is the Harrisburg network here. Rabbit Transit Route 322, which conveniently travels on Route 322 throughout Pennsylvania here. 322 actually goes pretty good ways all the way from Atlantic City to, I believe, Oregon. Really, really vast local road all throughout this country. Incredible interstate quality there. So we're going to take the 322 back out past the park, back through Hershey proper, and along Chocolate Ave. We loop through some other spots here, go right past Penn State Hershey, and then we make our way back up through Hummelstown, and we continue west towards Harrisburg. So we get down into Harrisburg, where we wind up at the, funny enough, the Amtrak station. Here, the Harrisburg Transit Center, where you can make that connection. But we're not doing that, no. We're connecting onto another Rabbit Transit bus. This one will be the 81X, which is an express bus out to Shippensburg University. So we come out here, cross over, and again, I'm really simplifying a lot of the loops and deviations in here. If I tried to put that in, I don't think Metro Dreamin' would really figure out what I'm trying to do. It's at least not at the level that I'm comfortable with using it there. So we cross back over the Susquehanna, and we make our way out. We're going to travel for quite a little ways here, going through the town of Carlisle. And going a little further, a little further. Now, just as another note here, again, Rapid Transit has two divisions. They have the capital region here, which services mostly around Harrisburg, and they have this York Adams division, which serves a bit lower here. And that will get you to some of these areas like Gettysburg and I believe out towards Carlisle, or that might be part of the capital one. Anyway, so down by around Gettysburg, York, those are covered by the York Adams division. There's even a one that gets you down into Maryland. However, doesn't really go much further west from Gettysburg, so that would not have been a feasible option for us to use here. So we continue past Carlisle all the way to the little town of Shippensburg, home of Shippensburg University. And that one takes us right the center-ish of the campus, where we can connect to the RRT, the Raider Regional Transit, Shippensburg's local trolley, also operated by Rapid Transit. Now they do have two versions of this, the red and the blue. I believe the blue is a weekend and the red is a weekday. Guess that doesn't totally make sense given the Lebanon connection that I made here, if you're using that. But just pick the red out of the two. Doesn't matter though. They run, as far as I can tell, the exact same route. Just one is Saturday only, one's weekdays. So we then hop onto the connector here, circulator around campus, and take this out onto Earl Street, North Earl Street. Connect here to Old Mill. It's barred up here. Turns into Old Mill Road. Right? Bard Road. Alright, so we go from Bard Road, connect onto Old Mill Road, and it does pop down in here for this little deviation, but that is essentially the westernmost stop you can get through on the RRT Shippensburg Raider Regional Transit. And that's it. That's it, folks. That is as far as you can get by standard public transit, local public transit from Philadelphia. I've looked up a lot of these other ways. Some of these towns are very well connected within their towns themselves. For instance, state colleges, really incredible network they have there. Of course, being college town, and being Penn State, of course, they have a great network. There are a few others speckled throughout here. Altoona, Amtran, they have a pretty extensive network. But unfortunately, none of these really connect. So trying to get all the way through here, through a lot of these smaller towns, really just isn't going to work. There's not much in here to warrant need of a small local transit network to connect in these towns. Would it be nice to connect them? Sure. But at this point, they're really only connected by a few lucky bus networks here, like from Rapid Transit and Red Rose and Lebanon having their somewhat connections here. But ultimately, nothing fully connects all the way to Pittsburgh. So that's it. That's as far as you can get. If you have another way that you know of, or other networks that you're aware of, let me know. I would love to hear about it. If I got something wrong in here, yeah, just let me know. I am all ears. If you feel like doing all this amount of research, feel free. It is a bit. I'm not even going to try to tell you what the cost is on here. I didn't even think to calculate that out. Just know that it is going to be an exhaustive ride to try to do all of these, whether you go up through Pottstown and Reading, whether you go through Coatesville and Lancaster, and even if you try to come up through Columbia, York, which now seeing might be a more feasible option if you're not going on a Saturday, but going up to Harrisburg, uh, getting to Harrisburg in that amount of time is quite the effort here, without a car. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna take this one off here. If you've made it this far, you are definitely the type of nerd who would probably want to subscribe to this type of content. And if you want something crazy and silly like this more, definitely drop a comment in and let me know what you're thinking of. I'm open to doing some interesting challenges and doing some fun, interesting research. Uh, this is pretty interesting, pretty fun to come up with. Gosh darn, was it time consuming, but I had a good time doing it. So, again, with that, if you made it this far, thank you. You're a little crazy for listening through all this way, and enjoy yourself. Take care now.